What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Pro and Bro Wrestling Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Arnold Telegaarda.
And I'm Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser. Episode 64 is in full effect. And we've been going 5 minutes earlier, and I've just been laughing nonstop with our next guest. I always say, don't die with the story and you tell it. I shared the ring with him this past week on New Japan Strong. And Arnold, you and I are very close. I tell you, anybody that I have on Pro and Bro Wrestling Podcast is very special to me. I see something in. One of the main things for me in Wrestling 101 is timing. Timing is so important. And he had such a Midas touch on me. We've got the Golden Boy in the house. Thank you for joining us. I always say, don't die with the story and you tell it. Jordan Clearwater, I shared the ring with you this past week. I just want to say that you are the man. Thank you for joining us.
Well, dude, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me on. And you should just know, for the record, like, it is my pleasure to be here, man. The fact that I'm able to talk to you and, man, the child inside of me 10 years ago would be screaming if only you guys knew. Like, the amount of stuff that has happened since I've started my career. So trust me, the pleasure is all mine.
Jordan, you started wrestling 5 years ago, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I started fresh out of high school and right before I started college. So I started at 18.
Wow.
But I bugged him as much as I could when I was 16, you know, and good old Roger wouldn't let me slide through the doors until I was 18. And, the day that I turned 18 and graduated high school, I was like, okay, this is, it's time to go,
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to take it to the beginning a little bit. I was watching an old interview of yours. Well, not an old interview, but a pretty past interview of yours. And I learned that what kind of captivated you to wrestling is turning on the TV and watching Triple H wrestle for the first time. So I'm curious, what was it about that moment? What gravitated you towards wrestling? Or what was it about Triple H where like, you know what? Like, there's something here.
Yeah, I think it was a mix of a lot of things, and having Fred on here, it's actually a good point because I can talk about him for a second and kind of the things that he's built a part of the latter part of your wrestling career, at least of what I've seen around, Rise Above the Hate. And when I was in school, not that, I was constantly getting picked on or seen as a social outcast by any stretch of the imagination, but, I didn't really find a place that I fit in. And so I kind of just did my own thing, and one day I was just doing what, kids do, wrestling their brother. And he was like, hey, you should check this out, turn this on. And so to answer your question, seeing this guy that is, tan, jacked, beating the crap out of this dude, and the entire crowd's cheering his name. And it's just something that I was like, oh, I just immediately resonated with that. And so I was like, I want to do that. That's something that I want to do. That could be me. And so, I just went after it. And so that's what really changed it. And I appreciate him, Triple H, now for his work in a different kind of a way, now that I'm in the business and I'm able to see it through a different pair of eyes. But, the fan in me always will remember that moment of just seeing him there and being like, yeah, that's what I got to do.
When you found out that that's what you wanted to do, was there any resistance from your family? Were they all supportive?
Yeah, I think they were. I was very blessed in the sense that they were all supportive. They are to this day. They've been the biggest supporters of me to chase my dream. Without them, it wouldn't have been possible, quite frankly. And I think I went about it a way that was like, hey, I'm gonna chase after this with everything that I have, but I'm also going to develop some sort of backup plan too, in case things don't work out, and that was the one thing that I read. And I went about this thing very methodically. I read a lot of interviews, saw a lot of feedback from what other popular wrestlers have given. And the number one thing was always have a backup plan. And I thought, okay, so that's what I'll do. I'll start training. I'll go to college, I'll get my degree. I'll do some different things. And so, hopefully that helps sway their opinions as well. Yeah.
So what degree did you get? What's the backup plan?
Yeah, so you're seeing it now. If I remove the beautiful background, I'll show you through my office here in Rancho Cucamonga. But my degree ended up being in business administration and organizational leadership, and then so I transitioned that into a finance career. So right now I am a staff manager and registered principal, and where I train and develop a team of financial reps for Western and Southern financial groups. So, so yeah, I'm touting the big boy job with the suit. and on the weekends I tear the suit off and put on my cape, so to speak.
That's crazy, man. I don't know a lot of wrestlers that do that. Like, you actually have a day job right now. That's like not a gimmick. That's your day job. That's pretty crazy.
This is a shoot, brother. All of this is a shoot. Now, I did pick out the shirt that complimented my face the most because I knew I was coming down here today. But, the rest of it is a shoot.
I love it, man. I love it.
Oh, no, I got to tell you, we had Limelight on a couple weeks ago. I always say that he's my first real friend in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Being in the ring with Jordan Clearwater, I will do everything I can possible to highlight this individual, young, whatever I have to do to use my platform to elevate and showcase Jordan Clearwater. I feel like I'm like the Oprah Winfrey of wrestling, because every time, Arnold, we have someone on the podcast, they always do something with AEW or Impact, and they don't mention it really on the podcast until like we have them on the podcast, and then they're doing big things. And, I want nothing but the best for you, Clearwater. When I bring up the name Machine Gun Carl Anderson, what does he mean to you?
Man, that dude was the difference between just being an independent wrestler and really making our connection through New Japan. Right. I see Carl Anderson as a mentor of mine. And when I think of a mentor, I think of somebody that not just, necessarily trains you, but he's able to guide your path in any kind of an industry. Right. And he was really the dude that called me up two or 3 years ago, actually, at this point, and said, hey, Jordan, I love that you're doing your thing here in Cincinnati, Ohio with the NWF, and it's great. And they're you're gonna do some wonderful things there. But brother, if you ever want anything more for yourself, you've got to get out of here. You got to get out of the Midwest. And, it doesn't sound like a lot, but he said that to me. And, I packed up my things that day. I walked in, put my letter of resignation on my boss's desk. And I said, hey, I've got to do this thing. I have to pursue this. And, I packed my stuff up and I moved out here with nothing, no place to go. And so, he was really the person that pushed me to do that. And he's always the guy that kind of gives me pieces of advice here and there. And so really, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had the opportunity with, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood or New Japan Strong. And quite frankly, I don't know if that we would have ever met, which is probably one of the best and the biggest things that's came out of being in Southern California, because you mentioned it earlier, using your platform to help showcase younger talent. I mean, just from our match last Friday, you should see just the change in my social media platform has received, thousands of likes, tens of thousands of views, things like I've never seen before. Seriously, coming from, corn fed out here in Cincinnati, Ohio, you would have never thought. And now I'm like a giddy little kid living his childhood dream.
Wow, that's
I'm
amazing.
a grown-ass man. I just turned 37. Don't get me emotional because I let it out. I'm 37. You're 23. You like to you had those inner blocks. I definitely had those inner blocks. But at 37, you start to say you don't really give a fuck what other people think. But Jordan, let me just say, because I'm all over the place, You hit me with that neck breaker. I thought you were going to land on the apron. I had no idea that you landed on the floor. Arnold, you have to go check it back on my IG, the highlights with me and Jordan. I thought he was going to land on the apron because I wondered when I hit, it hurt. It hurt, but it sounded kind of light. I didn't even know that Jordan just he just flew in the air and then went from the apron to the floor. I blasted on the apron. But timing, it looked beautiful, by the way, but timing is key.
Yeah, no, certainly. And it's funny because when it happened, I was thinking too, I was like, I could land on the apron here. And that was my plan. And then and watching it back, it's like, man, hopefully it looked even better. Hopefully it looked even bigger, that it went full steam. But hey, it's New Japan. You got to go all right. I had to go all in.
And it looked vicious that you didn't just pop up and start working me over. You just took your time. That's why timing is so important to me. I never did huge things with WWE. I'm very happy with my career, but I just have a good mind for the business, and nothing lasts forever. After my release, I had some of my best matches on, the minor league level. And I don't really look at it as the minor league level because we work very hard, but it's like the respect of your peers. I always say, like someone like Sean Spears that I shared the ring with, and for him to come to the back and say, man, I needed that. That's the biggest compliment coming from your peers, man. So, like I said, please definitely take care of that body. I've definitely told you that. Any advice you get from anyone, definitely take care of that body.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll extend, again, I can extend the compliment. I think somebody commented on one of the videos that you brought the best out of me. And I think that's so true. Watching the tapes back and seeing just all the little things that working with someone that's experienced and as knowledgeable as you are, that can kind of help me look even better, right? To a certain extent, by covering up some of the little things that I maybe did wrong. So I learned so much every time. So it was such a pleasure just being in the ring with you as well. So
Jordan, how did you come up with the name The Golden Boy?
How did I become the Golden Boy?
Yeah.
That is a wonderful question. Well, quite frankly, it started as a rib.
Okay.
So when I first got in, I got the typical, I was white meat baby face from Dallas, Texas. I had a cowboy hat and I had a horrible accent. I think one time I grabbed someone for a bulldog and I went, yeehaw, or something in the corner and did that and hit him with it. And in the old gymnasiums, everybody hears everything. And so I get to the back and they're like, don't ever do that again. And so, at that point, I think I realized that I need to find something that meets me a little bit more. And at the time, I was the first to show up, the last to leave. I was, scrubbing the toilet bowls with the toothbrush, the whole nines, man. And I just wanted to make it work no matter what it took. And so people started to get a little jaded by it. And, they saw me getting some opportunities. And so they started saying, oh, don't touch him. That's the golden boy, oh, that's the golden boy, and then all of a sudden the fans started being like, oh, that's the golden boy. And then, so, I said, screw it. I am the golden boy. That's who I am now. I'll take that. And so I just took that ball and started running with it. I got the gold tights and just kept going.
I love it, man. That's the best when it comes out genuinely. You know what I mean? Like something that happens in the back and you bring it in front of the cameras, in front of the audience, and it's authentic. And I think that's really cool. And I love your character because you bring out terms that I haven't heard in a really long time. Like the Midas touch. I haven't heard that since like 5th grade or 6th grade when I was like learning history. But explain that to me, the Midas touch. I know what it means, but for the people that don't.
Sure. Yeah. So the Midas touch is my finishing maneuver. It's out of nowhere, right? It can come out of nowhere. And the idea is by training with people that are in MMA, like Blake Troop, if anybody watches CWFH, they'll get to see him and know him as our sports commentator, but being able to work out in Black House MMA, here in Los Angeles, being able to work on kicks, strikes, it was very obvious that was something that I did really well. And we wanted to highlight that. And so, we were messing around again, one day in the locker room, we were joking around, how are we going to call this? What are we going to call this? The gold standard? Going to call this? What are we going to call this? And one of the guys, chimes in and he says, hey, how about Midas touch? And I was like, everything I touch turns to gold. So why not? Right. I mean, it's perfect. It goes hand in hand. So Midas touch became the name and I ran with that as well. So again, like you said, the best things just come from, things that were either real or just people just jaw jacking, brainstorming, which is what's so fun about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, we talked about you watching Triple H, but when you first started watching wrestling as a fan, was there anyone that you gravitated towards?
Yeah, so I mentioned Triple H as the first and then ultimately my favorite for a number of different reasons. At the time, it was because he was that first person. He resonated with me, even as something as, and this is going to sound so ridiculous, but even as something so simple as the colors that he used in his entrance, the green. My favorite color is green, and it's so amazing that I don't know why that clicks in my head as a child, but, now later on in life, I appreciate Triple H for being truly the game, right? Being the best at every aspect of professional wrestling. Then there were some other people that I gravitated towards as well during that time. Chris Jericho was one of them. I loved his 2009 when he was wearing the suit, the short haircut. I mean, geez, that was like awesome for me. CM Punk, he made a name for himself. in such a crazy way I'd never seen before. And so I gravitate towards him. And then, too, in that same time when I was really growing up, which might sound kind of strange, Fred, was I was watching you guys as a part of the Nexus. I remember watching the first season of NXT as, a fan. And so, things like that were the programs I was drawn to, because I loved seeing that the new, fresh up and comers, and being able to watch them rise through their career as I was kind of rising through my own, and being able to develop, who I wanted to be by watching them.
Yeah, that's
Jordan,
amazing.
Do you do a lot of interviews? I think I might have asked you, or maybe I didn't ask you, but do you do a lot of podcasts at all?
Yeah, I do some podcasts here and there. I think I've done like 2 or 3 maybe so far this year, maybe one or so more. So not. I think we did talk a little bit about that over Twitter. So not terrible much. But if I can get on one, I'd love to be a part of one.
But usually they're probably, are they former wrestlers that have been in the business that have interviewed you, or would I be like your first?
You would be the first former wrestler that's interviewed me.
And can you tell a difference between someone like me that's interviewing you, or just, shooting the shit with you, and then someone that's kind of outside of the business? Can you tell a difference at all, or no?
Well, I think it all comes down to personality. A lot of professional wrestlers have an easygoing personality, or they're very talkative. It's easy to converse. Not that most podcast hosts are easy to converse with, but more so you're able to understand probably the ins and outs of what I'm speaking about too. And I feel like I can be heard in ways that I'm not necessarily heard in other podcasts. Not that that's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just different. And so there is a slight difference, but I'll say that I do enjoy doing podcasts. I enjoy public speaking in a weird kind of a way. So all of this is so much fun for me.
Like, Jordan, it's very important. Like, for me to you, just, we have to stumble and fall. We have to get those reps, in the ring, but I've shared the ring with you recently, and it's very important that you get in the ring with people that are like, what I'm saying, better than you, or that you can say, oh, all right, this is how it's supposed to be done, or this is how it's supposed to feel like, and again, that's just from me coming to you, especially at 23 years old. Take care of that body, because when your moment really shines, you just have to be ready and stuff like that.
Certainly. And, some other things about me kind of on a more personal level would be I love, get excited about the prospect of wrestling, but it also creates some sort of anxiety in the sense that you never know when the opportunity is the right opportunity, right? And I would be remiss if I didn't say I was a little anxious when I saw our names next to each other on the card, right? Because you are that person that's...
Wait, hold on a second. What does that mean?
I was nervous, man. I was nervous. I was anxious. I wanted to do my best, but it's because I feel like it's because I want to perform at my best. And so, and it takes somebody like you, somebody who is definitively better than me, years better than me, decades better than me, to pull out what that potential could be. So I completely agree with you. And so again, I struggle with that because a part of me feels like it also holds me back in the sense that I should be confident in myself to perform at that level. But, I also have to kind of give myself my own reality check in the mirror every night and say, hey, I'm still young. I still have a ways to go. I still can learn. I have a lot to learn. I don't think I'll ever stop learning in this business. So that's one of the cool things.
Never. You'll never stop learning in this business. Me, 18 years, doing this right now at this point, I envision myself, and I've said it on the podcast when I'm out there, I think I'm the Black Randy Orton, because that, and I don't say verbally, I think that in my head, because his pacing and his timing, and there's a time and a place to unload on someone, but just his strikes are very deliberate, and mainly the timing, and you're getting to know that it's not about the moves, it's about the in-between stuff. And Arnold, you have to go back and watch the highlights from me and Jordan. There comes a point where, like, I'm on the ground and he's hitting me. I need to cover up, to make it look real. Guys like Vince McMahon are very big on cover up. But Jordan just kept unloading, and it just looked believable. He didn't just, he didn't take a day off on me. He stayed on me. I covered up. He still unloaded on me. And those are little details that are very, very important to me. And when I'm in the ring with someone like that, we have good dance partners and not so good dance partners. Mm-hmm. But being in there with Jordan, I'm going to be putting him over like crazy. And that's what I do.
Hey, Jordan, I know you're very early in your wrestling career, but even with that being said, is it a big adjustment for you, considering that 2020 now you guys have to perform with zero audience? Does that kind of affect your head a little bit, or are you just like so new that it hasn't affected you as much?
I think so. I can't remember who said it, and maybe it was somebody at a much larger promotion. So you'll have to forgive me, but they said wrestling was made to be in front of a crowd. And I believe that, and I can feel that, right? But 2020 and the pandemic has afforded me with a lot of opportunity, and doing so, I'm so grateful. And I've always tried to be the optimist and look on the positive side of things. So that's the first part. The second part is I got a chance to wrestle Nick Aldis, and so we were walking through the match, and Nick's like, "Hey, the best part about this whole thing?" And I'm like, "What's that?" And he's like, "We can do and tell whatever story we want. And it doesn't have to be dictated by a crowd per se. The person can choose to or choose not to watch. And that is something that we should capitalize on." And I thought, that's great advice. I'm like, that's great advice. So for me, does it bother me? No. Do I miss a crowd? Yes. But does it bother me to that certain extent? I mean, it doesn't necessarily bother me. It gives me a chance to, like Nick said, focus on maybe something a little different. I mean, it's all goes into being probably what I might consider a well-rounded wrestler, is being able to do both, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, were you also trained by Abyss?
Yes, good old man. Abyss and I have some good brother times back in Cincinnati. Oh man, him and I have some good times. We were in our both of our trainer Roger Ruffin's wedding, and so we got to share some good stories and some beverages there as well. So yes, I was. He's that's another dude. Such a great mind for the industry.
Yeah.
Talk about psychology, man. Forget the moves, dude. Forget all of the moves. I mean, that dude's all up here, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember TNA in its early days. There were only a few characters to me that stood out. AJ Styles and Abyss was definitely one of them, and I was so amazed. I mean, I wasn't following up with the storyline as much, but when Abyss did that storyline when he wore the suit and he was a totally different character and he wasn't the monster that he was, if anyone didn't tell me, I would have no idea that was Abyss. And that just goes to show the type of range that he has, which is amazing. And I'm so glad you got to work with him because of his psychology, of all his experience that he's had. That's amazing, man.
Oh, that's so right. What a great storyline that is, in and of itself. But you're right. He's got such a great range. And he was the first person that really taught me that, selling isn't what we do in the ring. We don't just sell moves. You sell from the moment you walk through that curtain to the moment you walk back through that curtain. And that was something that he said to me that I thought, man, that's so ingenious. And I'm going to take it, man, and I'm going to take it, take that to heart. That's something that I've taken to heart.
That's awesome. Now you mentioned all these wrestlers that you were, that you were a fan of. Would you say you would take a little bit of their style, incorporate it into yours?
Some of the mannerisms kind of focus towards more of the later wrestlers that I've seen. But as far as my wrestling style, I need to dial it all the way back to the 60s and 70s,
Ooh.
man. That's really where I pull a lot of my inspiration from. Barry Windham, Ricky Steamboat,
Wow.
Any of the great baby faces that you'd think of. I was Dusty Rhodes. I had the boot. My first pair of boots were modeled after the Barry Windhams and the Dusty Rhodes. So, those are the types of guys that I really formulate my wrestling style around, because I think that's something I resonate with the most. That's the type of storytelling that I enjoyed. And much to what Fred mentioned earlier is I'd rather focus on getting the in-between versus, working towards a 1, 2, 5, 10. I have all these moves, this list of moves. I'm sure there's a time and place for everything, yes. But that's where I kind of gravitated myself towards that 60s, 70s, 80s style.
Amazing.
Jordan, what kind of music do you like?
Man, brother, my favorite band of all time is Linkin Park.
Very nice.
R.I.P. Chester Bennington. Yep, R.I.P. Chester Bennington. I love me some Stain, some Breaking Benjamin. So that's a little bit on the rock side, but I go all the way to alternative. 1975, Bad Sons, Jimmy Eat World. I was using Sweetness for the longest time as my entrance song. Crowd would always sing along with it too. So, man, if I could get them to do my entrance song, that would be really cool. But yeah.
I got to bring up age. I'm 37. You're 23. I used to always get fired up anytime WWF used Linkin Park or those guys. Like, still to this day, when I hear like whatever soundtrack for a pay-per-view it was with Linkin Park, whatever, I'd get fired up, man. You were probably a baby.
Yeah, no, I was. I mean, what were they? The tribute videos or the sacrifice
videos? Oh, it's the best.
Creed? Yes. Oh man, I still watch that. Put my knee pads on and get on fire at home, my friend. That's probably what I'll do this evening, man.
You know what still gives me chills to this day is, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the rematch between Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock at WrestleMania, and they use Limp Bizkit's "My Way or the Highway," and the build up to that was so. It gives me so much chills because they like the whole story being told with that music behind it was just amazing. And even some of my friends that don't watch wrestling, they always jam out to whenever they see that promo coming on because it's so cool with them face to face, and then they're like throwing rounds at each other, it's like "My way or the highway," and it's so cool. And speaking of, as a Linkin Park fan, I just want to ask you real quick, I went crazy when they did that collab album with Jay-Z. That was amazing. How'd you enjoy that?
Yeah, no, the collab album with Jay-Z is top notch. I mean, they've got a bunch of great records, and a lot of people throw shade at Linkin Park for the latter half of their career where they made a shift in the style of music that they were making. But here's the thing is that we have to evolve.
Yeah.
We all have to evolve. We can't be stale. We can't be stagnant. I couldn't imagine still being, white meat babyface out of Dallas, Texas.
Right.
Cowboy Jordan Clearwater, just no different than they probably couldn't make a million Hybrid Theory albums over and over and over again. Yeah. And would we even listen to it? Probably not. You can only hear in the end so many times. So you're like, all right, what else is on the track list? So, again, I guess it goes to that right place, right time, but also there's a time and place for everything.
I think WWE needs to come back with those, how back in the day it was like WWF Volume 3, Volume 5, and the entrance music. And they would even have...
Dude, I had the green one.
Yeah, the green one? Absolutely.
Logo. I had that one. I had the Legacy one.
Yeah.
That was the most recent one that I had. Dude, I have no shame in my game.
Oh, man. And I would geek out. I would totally mark out when the wrestlers actually used the tracks for the collab, like DX with Run DMC and The Rock with the Method Man. I still remember the verse till this, finally, The Rock has come back, laying down the smack. And I just wish he used that one time in the ring. But I just think that that's such a great idea, and they should do that again, at least one more time for nostalgia, if not anything.
One thing that they did recently, and I don't think they get enough credit for some of the recent stuff that they did. WrestleMania 28. Everyone asks me what my favorite WrestleMania is. I know, and I always get heat for saying it's 28, and I'm not trying to get into a whole WWE conversation, but I think at the end, that main event, first off, Rock and Cena told such a great story with what we were just talking about, little to no moves, but also they had MGK play Cena out.
Yeah, Florida.
It was such a good dichotomy of here's one generation versus here's the other generation. Now who's going to win? And it just added so much to the story, right? And that's something that they did recently that, again, I don't think they get enough credit for. I thought that was fantastic.
And I thought it was also fantastic watching all the fan reactions when The Rock won. They had all it went viral on YouTube, all these compilations of these dads watching it with their sons, and their sons just crying and the dad laughing, and it's so cool because you get to see two different generations enjoying the same thing together, and they can pass on that love, which is awesome.
Yeah, man, that's wrestling. In a nutshell, that's why I enjoy it. It's a storytelling. It's the 25-year movie of someone's career.
Wow.
You watch someone progress throughout their career through this 25-year history, and it's the longest running movie. It's the longest running episodic television show. So I love it. That's why I love wrestling.
Have you guys heard the rumors of the upcoming WWE films that they're coming out with? There's supposed to be a Hulk Hogan movie coming out and also a Vince McMahon movie. Word on the street is for the Hulk Hogan movie, the actor that's going to play Hulk Hogan is Chris Hemsworth. And right now he's in the process of bulking up to get into Hulk Hogan size. And he actually said that it is a harder process than to when he got in shape for Thor. Like getting into Hulk Hogan shape, it's way harder. And for Vince McMahon, word on the street is the actor that's playing him is Bradley Cooper.
Man, both of those are going to be cool. That
Right?
sounds really cool. I didn't know either of those things. Chris has some weight to put on, though.
Yeah.
You better get to it. Those 24-inch biceps aren't going to build themselves, brother.
Maybe they can use some like CGI effects or something, man.
Yeah, right.
Like Jordan, your physical fitness, have you always been into working out or no? How much does it mean to you?
Yeah, so when I made that decision, like this is the career that I want to go down. This is the path that I want to go down. It was really my uncle who took me under his wing. He's like, here, let me show you a couple things about, lifting weights. And, that started at 14 and it sucked. It sucked. And like, it took some commitment. And then I noticed some progressions and I kept going at it ultimately all the way up till now. It's a large part about what I do. So, I've worked with Elite Fitness Training and getting myself up to 220,
Wow.
8% body fat because I am prepping for a show in March, the Steve Carr bodybuilding competition in Vegas.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, and then I'll also be competing at NPC West Coast Classic that June as well. I would have competed this year, but COVID had other plans for us, so that wasn't something that turned out as well. But it gives me a little bit more opportunity to get some muscle and some size on. So
That's crazy, man. You have a successful day job at an office. You're also a bodybuilder and a pro wrestler at the same time. I don't know how you juggle all those things. That's amazing, man.
It's been it's fun, but I'm not I'm no pun intended, but I'm not the type of person to take any days off. So I go after it. I'm trying to do something great with what I've been given, and so as much as I would like to believe that is a certain path in life, I don't know what life is going to pull me down. So I figured I'll put my eggs in multiple baskets and see which one
Smart.
which one gets carried across the finish line.
With your fitness journey, what do you struggle with the most? Is it the dieting part or is it getting bigger?
Dieting. It's always been getting bigger until I realized the science behind what it is that I'm doing. And until I learned exactly my body and posing and working through posing classes and seeing my deficiencies was where I really started to notice, okay, I need to change what I'm doing on a nutrition side of things, but also in a working out kind of things. Instead of going to the gym 2 hours a day, I used to go in 2 hours a day and tear my body up, which kind of goes back to what you're saying, Fred, is like, take care of your body. And now, I hit the gym before work in the morning at around 6 and we do 30 minutes, but it's the most cardio intensive 30-minute high interval training I've ever done. And I've never been happier, never looked better than I have before in the past. So it's all about, focusing on what really matters and not doing the bro science of, I think I'm going to do chest 3 days a week type of thing. At least that's what they've taught me, right? It's more of a scientific and methodical approach.
Yeah, that's what we all grew up with, right? Like watching all these like bodybuilders and saying, oh, you gotta focus on 2 muscles a day, the very like traditional way to do it.
Pumping iron, Generation Iron, any of those good old Arnold classics.
Yeah. But no, that's cool, man. That's what I was gonna ask you, but you answered it. But like, those like HIIT training, like really, you get that full bang out of your buck for that workout, because even though it's 20 minutes, 10 minutes, but by the time that's over, you're completely exhausted.
Yeah, no, and you're calculating again. It's also very scientific, and it helps to have a coach that's watching that, because he's constantly calculating and recalculating like your 1 rep max. And then every time you're going into the gym, it's all right. We're doing certain percentages of that, and we're periodizing to the sense that we're not working out 15, 12, 10 reps in one workout. It's 15 reps for this entire week.
Right.
Next week, it's 12 reps. And we're periodizing over a longer period of time, which is also forcing the muscle to grow more. But again, back to Fred's point is taking the time to rest. recover, sleep, eat right, stretch. I mean, those are all things that take time and dedication that is better suited outside of the gym versus spending, I'm going to spend 2 hours today in the gym, kill myself and then not eat right, not sleep right, and then wake up the next morning hating myself. So
when you're prepping up for a show like that, do you, like, for your diet, do you do any like intermittent fasting, or are you just like counting calories? Like, what do you do with your diet right now?
So right now I'm back in bulking. So I'm shooting for a little over 300 carbs, 200 proteins, and then under 50 grams of fat. So the key is really, for me, I can't eat enough. I can never stop eating. I have such a bad habit of waking up at 1:30 in the morning and going to the kitchen and like eating a lot, then go back to sleep. Very bad habit of it. But, it's about hitting those macronutrients. And I didn't really understand that either. But doing so while keeping such low fat is practically impossible. That's been the name of my game for the last couple of months, last 6 or so months. So that's been a tough journey tough cookie to crack.
Well, it seems like you're killing it, man. So congrats to that. And I can't wait for your show. I can't wait for you to show off your physique. That's going to be crazy because that's a lot of hard work.
When I perform, you guys, I'll have to I'm trying to get myself over and booked to get on your podcast because you have to have me back. And this time I'll do it no shirt.
Let's go.
And you can be like, oh, cool.
Let's go.
I'm so proud of you, bro. I mean, I always say my social media is an open diary to the world. So anything I ever post always comes from the heart, with the intent to inspire, motivate, and educate, man. So definitely keep doing what you're doing and definitely document that stuff, man. Show the world and be proud, If anything, document it for yourself because you never know, like footage like that, moments like that can be utilized 15, 20 years from now, man. But that is amazing. Do you have a dream match? Dream wrestling match?
Man, I guess I would be remiss to say that I would love to step in the ring with, the person that really got me started on this whole thing. H would be such a great journey, but, I know he's kind of at the...
That's perfect.
Yeah, I would love it, man. I would love nothing more than, but again, to learn. So I would feel like it would be such a learning experience. Just to be able to close my ears, or close my mouth, open my ears, and just shut up and follow along. I'll ride the bus, brother can drive it. I think that would be so fantastic. I know that's a term I've had used to me a lot in my career. Brother, just get on the bus. I'll be driving. So.
Well, that's how you were with me. Just listen to me, and we'll have a great performance. And you did just that, man. So, like I said, we can go on and on and on with this podcast. You said Triple H was someone that you would want to wrestle. You can give us someone else that currently today that you would want to work in a dream match.
I have to wrestle my man Carl Anderson. I've never stepped foot to foot, toe to toe with that man in front of a crowd on a stage, but got to go toe to toe with that dude. Got to show him what he's missing out on, man.
Yeah, well, personal connection. Like I've always got along with the Machine Gun, and I think he's definitely one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing with New Japan. So I can't thank him and Rocky enough for giving me the opportunity. But before we take it home, because time is money, baby, and I know you got to eat and do your thing, I want to just hit you with 21 totally random questions that I like to do with all the guests and whatever comes to your mind. So you down to play?
Oh, I'm down, brother, and I could talk to you all night, man. I've got some cashews right here. I've got my bodybuilding snack. I'm rocked and ready to go, baby.
No, hell no. We got enough, man. We got enough. But first question, what's your favorite thing in your closet right now? Two-piece Armani suit.
Ooh.
It's my baby blue. It looks gorgeous. It fits just right. I love it.
When things break, do you prefer to fix it or replace it? I bet fix it.
I know, same here.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna be surprised. I'm a replacer, man.
You're one of us. You're one of us.
Screw it, I'm gonna get something else. I can't mess with this right now. I don't got time.
Okay, what job would you be absolutely horrible at?
Nothing.
Anything that has to do with analytics, watching screens all day, couldn't do it. My brain would fry.
Good one. What's your favorite movie ever?
Happy Gilmore. That's an easy one. You're gonna die, clown. All day, every day. I love me some Adam Sandler.
Okay. What's the most disturbing thing you've ever witnessed?
Ooh, I went to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hit you with the real one. That was seriously, that was the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life. There's also a smaller Holocaust, and just in general, they kind of go over things like the Holocaust, slavery, what we did to the American Indians in Cincinnati. Those types of things are just some of the most disturbing pieces of history, but are just so important because history does repeat itself, and so we have to be cognizant of what's happened in the past.
Man, don't get me started, man. I mean, you were just saying the right stuff, bro. If you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
Ooh. Oh, man. Oh. Never give up.
It's a good one.
Fine.
Never give up.
That's fine. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, man. Ignorance is not bliss, man. Ignorance is not bliss. There's too much information out there. There's too much facts and statistics out there. If you've been told once and you didn't listen, then shame on you.
You have a brain of like you just seasoned, man. You just seasoned. you just keep doing what you're doing. What makes you anxious? Is there anything that makes you anxious?
Oh, man, what makes me anxious? Failure. Failure makes me anxious.
And what's the stupidest thing you've ever done because someone dared you to?
Jumping off the top rope. Anytime I've jumped off the top rope, it's because somebody's dared me to, and I've always ended up hurt so bad. It's never ended good for me. Never, ever has that ever ended good for me.
God, man. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. What's your favorite swear word?
Shit.
That's a fun one.
What is one food that you never give up?
Chicken, because that's all my diet consists of anymore.
What's your favorite toy? What was your favorite toy as a child? Favorite toy?
Webkins.
I don't remember that.
Stuffed animals that you could use their paw to sign into a little online port. I'm giving you all the good stuff. I don't even know what that is anymore. Outside of Heelys, I don't know what else it would be.
That's crazy. I don't remember that one.
That's good.
Hey, I used to take these little stuffed animals and wrestle with them all the time. I didn't have like figures, so I was just like, screw it. We'll use these animals.
I hear you.
They put on some good matches, brother. Let me tell you.
You did the booking, right?
Yeah, trust me. Put them over hard.
13. What was the worst backhanded compliment you've ever been given?
You're too nice.
Too nice. Oh, man. Yeah. Nah, I don't know if I've ever been told. That's just me. I don't want to get into me, but that's just me in general. But sometimes, like teaming with Titus O'Neil, I love taking heat, I take heat every night, 5-6 nights a week. I'm like, my body's tired. My body's hurting. Big man, you got to take some heat. You got to slip on a banana peel. And there were times I was just too nice. And then sometimes, no, man, you got to take heat tonight, man. I need a fucking break, So, yeah, I get it. And a piece of advice Dr. Tom Pritchard gave me was when I first started in this business, you're going to have to eat shit and like the taste of it. And when I first started, I'm like, please, Dr. Tom, what are you talking about? That'll never happen to me. In some situations you might have to. It's just the way it is, But me, I just believe in being true to myself and just doing me, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'll get my shit in when I can get it in, but at the end of the day, we gotta do our thing,
For sure. No, I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can keep going on and on. 14, if you could interview a famous person, who would you choose?
If I could interview a famous person, I would choose...
Because you're good, bro.
Oh, who would I choose? choose, that is such a great question. Man, if I had to interview any famous person, it would have to be Vince. I want to know one thing, how that conversation went over when you decided to take it from the territories to it being a global entertainment spectacular. I want to know that man probably received so much pushback, never before seen, and he had risked it all, man. Talk about anxiety of failure. I would love to hear how that went over.
Absolutely. That's probably the best response that we've ever got, Arnold, from that question.
That's true.
That's good. We didn't get into your personal life, your love life. That's, that's all up to you. But 15, who was your first celebrity crush?
Oh, first celebrity crush. For some reason, I had a feeling that you might ask me this question, and so I'd given it some thought. I thought about it when I went to the bathroom, and so I've had a number of celebrity crushes. Most recently, it's Margot Robbie. She is just a dime, but first and foremost, I mean, any kid growing up that was watching Hannah Montana had to say Miley Cyrus.
Wow, that's a new one.
I mean, come on now,
That's a new one, bro.
What's something that you've tried that you'll never try again? 16. That's the top rope right there, unless you have another response.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would say the top rope, but I promise you, just watch me this weekend, Fred, when we go to New Japan. I promise you, somebody's going to talk me into doing it, and I'm going to come back, and Rocky's going to be like, bro, I've told you a million times, stop doing stuff you don't know how to do. So man, pho. I'm never eating pho ever again. I don't care what anybody says. Pho, however you call it, kombucha, all of that can go in the trash. I'm just not a fan. List me on the liquid noodles, brother. I'm passing. That was weird. That was some weird stuff. And the apple cider vinegar shots, fake news. That is fake news, brother. I am not doing that ever again. That is a rib I won't fall for.
That's something like if I do wrestling clinics, and then afterwards, that's the one thing I'll do. Everyone has to do a toast of apple cider vinegar because I don't drink anymore. So that's my shot of choice, apple cider vinegar. Everyone, So, but that's funny, bro. That's a good one.
Well, I'll do it for you, Fred. Me and you, we can go. We'll do that apple cider vinegar one more time.
And I love kombucha, man. You don't like kombucha?
Oh, brother, no. Come on, man. Miss me with that. What's up with all this vinegary stuff, man? I don't know about you, but I've got a sensitive stomach over here, brother. That disagrees with me, man. Very, very much so.
Okay. We got to start to take this home because we've had past guests where we had to go through 3 Zooms, 4 Zooms. This is just so good. But 17, what was your first job?
My first job, washing dishes at a restaurant.
What was your favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show, of course, had to have been outside of wrestling. Don't want to say wrestling. That's a cheap response. Is The Office.
Oh, I love The Office, man.
Wait, Arnold, don't you have that little setup or something? Or
yeah, here I have I'll show you real quick.
Oh yes.
All right. I wasn't gonna bring this up, Fred, but you're doing it.
Yeah,
so.
you always bring it up every time we have a guest that answers this way.
So I have all the pops. So this is Michael Scott when he did Man vs. Wild.
No way.
And then Dwight Schrute.
Oh.
And then I got Pam Beasley. Also, Jim Halpert and Michael Scott, and also have the whole cast of Friends and some wrestling pop Funko as well. But
Brother,
huge fan of The Office.
Super jealous. Hold on a sec. Let's make this more fun then. Come on now. What are we doing here? Michael Scott over here. Here we go.
Man.
We're in The Office right now.
That's right. No, look at you. Oh, I just caught that. Oh, that's good.
That's how I should have started. It would have fit the gimmick better.
You should have had the world's best boss mug, man.
Oh, man. Oh, brother. No, this is my world's best boss mug over here. It's a shaker cup. I'm sorry, guys.
For Halloween last year, me and my wife were Jim and Pam.
Oh, that's awesome. I think unfortunately, I'd probably have to be Michael. And,
Yes.
Holly, so.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Fred's
Best
done.
gift ever, huh? Yeah, I'm done. Best gift ever received.
Gift?
Yes.
Best gift ever received. My mother purchased me. My mom and dad purchased me 2 tickets to WrestleMania 26.
Wow.
When in 2010, and that was something that I'll never forget.
And you have pictures and stuff like that?
Yes. Oh, I've got a video on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I got a video on YouTube under a much younger, different account of me. Don't let them know. But I videoed it, even though they said do not video. I had to, man. I had to capture some moments.
Good, bro. Toilet paper over or under?
Over.
Over. And last but not least, if you had 3 people over, dead or alive, who would they be?
3 people would be, let's see, Jesus, Muhammad, and Buddha.
There you
Come
go.
on, brother. It's debate time. Let's see what goes down.
Let's get
see
some
how this
answers.
bad boy ends. Let's rock and roll. I don't hold any punches, man. I'll listen to anybody and any point of view. So I want to hear it go down.
Good for you, bro.
Bring them all. Bring all the massive heads of the religions.
I love it. I love it.
Arnold, man. I mean, I think that's a perfect way to take it home. What do you think?
Oh man, this has been such a fun episode, man. Again, if I wasn't hungry, we could do this all day. But I always love chopping it up.
3 people, you 3, hello, come over for dinner. I'm a cook.
That's-
I'll cook you guys
okay.
some food. I watch enough MasterChef. Come over.
That's true.
I'm buying a house. I'll have you guys over. We'll have some beverages. Well, Fred, you'll have some apple cider vinegar, and we'll have a good time, man. That's what we'll do in the next one.
Sign me up. Sign me up, bro.
Definitely. I will not turn that down. Definitely. Thanks for being with us. I'll be seeing you soon. I really appreciate it, and I'm always rooting for you, man. Keep doing your thing, and yeah, I got to eat too because I do the intermittent fasting. So I sometimes I don't eat till 5 o'clock. So yeah, for me, it just works well for me. But everyone has their own routine. But again,
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, bro.
Thank you, Jordan.
Oh,
We
dude,
appreciate
thank you
it,
so
man.
much. Thanks for having me, dude. This was so much fun. Like, I'd do this all day, every day if I could.
Likewise,
Good, hell
man.
yeah.
Well, best of luck to everything that you do. Congrats on your day job career. Congrats on pro wrestling career. Congrats on your bodybuilding competition career. And best of luck to that. You're gonna kill it, man. And you got this, bro. We're all here rooting for you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. And until next time, guys, seriously.
All right, have a good one, man. Another fun episode with Jordan, Golden Boy, Clearwater. It's been so fun, man.
Yeah, episode 64, man, was really, really, really a good one. Like I say, man, I love highlighting people that are not necessarily under me, but that are under me. And he's so new in this business that the best is yet to come for Jordan Clearwater, and I hope to share the ring with him again. And like I said, he's got to get in the ring with people that are definitely better than him because, he's got it. He can walk the walk and talk the talk. And, for me personally, the way I feel about, how I feel about Triple H, right?
Mm-hmm.
This situation gives me knowing Jordan and me wanting to get all eyes on him because he's such a great talent. It drives me even more for someone like Triple H to see him. I know he's going to be seen. There's no question about it. No question about it. And like I said earlier, with the podcast and everything. Everyone that we have on, they tend to do big things. And like I said, it's a personal goal of mine for Triple H to see him if he hasn't already seen him.
Right.
So see him and him ultimately accomplish his goal and get signed to a major organization and tell his 9-to-5 job to go to hell.
Well, in my eyes, Jordan and you included are already doing big things because in New Japan, being seen in that light, that's mainstream to me. You know what I mean? So I think he's killing it, and wherever he decides to go, it's gonna be great.
I am frazzled. I am just, I don't know if I'm using the right word. Last night I was in a war. I was in a war with Chris Dickinson. I posted it on my IG highlights, primetime live semifinal competition that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved. We haven't met. We haven't filmed in a while, and I didn't mention it, but recently I was involved in a 8-man tournament to crown a new United Wrestling Network world champion for promotion here in LA that's doing big things with their TV and pay-per-view stuff. So it was an honor to be a part of the tournament. And the guy I wrestled yesterday, I actually wrestled him a couple of years ago in a 6-man tag. It was the Nexus Alliance back in Pennsylvania, King of Trios, Jakar organization. And this guy, Chris Dickinson, that was one of the participants in the tournament. He really, we were like a war, man. So definitely check out highlights. I feel during this podcast episode, I've been rambling on because I'm afraid that
that you might forget.
No, that like I might have trauma to my head.
Oh man,
I am just out of it. I didn't even work out today.
Wow.
Because I just ran errands. I'm not bad or anything. I'm not bad. I'm just
you need to take a day.
Huh?
You need to take a day.
Yeah, and it's tough, because I always go all out, and I'm crying the wolf about the concussion because you would know if you have a concussion, but I was just tired from the war that I was in. Definitely check it out, the highlights on my personal Instagram. But when you don't do this every day, like, and you do it so sporadically, I had wrestling yesterday, and then I have wrestling in a couple days. When you don't do it as much, it's like it takes a toll on your body. Not in a bad way, but I feel it the next day. But with Chris Dickinson, I really enjoyed being in the ring with him. He's another guy that I definitely want to have on the podcast because him and I clicked in the ring. As much as I'm like crying the wolf, we clicked, man. And it was like Kevin Sullivan and Chris Benoit. And
wow.
I was, and it was so intense because leading up to the tournament last week, I wrestled Eric Redbeard from the Lions.
I saw that.
And he got disqualified, and he tried to break my arm, trying to re-injure my Tommy John surgery that I had back in January 2017. So with the whole story, a lot of the most recent matches I've been having, I've been able to tell a beautiful stories that I've told great with Fala Ba or Ray Jazz, guys that I was able to just click with. And January 2017, I got injured in WWE. Eric Redbeard tried to break my arm. And then this week, wrestling Chris Dickinson, he really zeroed in on my arm. And then ultimately last night, I had to tap out or he would have broke my arm. So it's something that you definitely got to check out, man. It was intense.
Yeah. I mean, I saw some of the highlights already, and it looks really, really crazy, man. But...
yeah, if you've seen the highlights, just listen to the strikes, man. It's just like, like I said, I'm feeling it, man. So that's what's been going on with me. And like I said, it's very exciting for me to be able to do a podcast and not be like one of those old timers like, I remember back in 2010 with the Nexus, I got the armband back there, back then. I'm not one of those old timers. I still we can still do the podcast and I can talk about my wrestling experiences that I'm currently doing.
Yeah, man.
So that's the 411 on Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. Well, before we wrap it up, we kind of want to talk about some wrestling news a little bit that's affecting a lot of wrestlers, man. So word on the street is WWE is thinking to having their own agency. Did you hear about that? Their own talent agency.
No.
I don't know how
Really?
confirmed that is, but from some reliable sources, they want to be their own third party agency. So, like, when wrestlers do outside things, it's still under the WWE umbrella. So I don't know if that necessarily, I don't know the full details on how that's going to work yet, but I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. But, with the bad press WWE's been getting, it's not really the best look right now, especially with, I keep forgetting his name, but the politician, something Yang,
Oh.
he's been very outspoken about his disgust with WWE treating their not even their employees, their independent contractors as employees. You can't have what's that term? But anyways, if you're gonna have them as independent contractors, you gotta treat them like one. And if you're gonna strip away their benefits, you gotta let them have options to earn other incomes. And WWE just wants to have it both ways. And he said that he's gonna do everything he can to fight it and and he'll never forget about this cause, and he's gonna keep fighting it until things are right. And he's spoken very highly of AEW and how they're treating their wrestlers because they can do other things. They can have their merch on Pro Wrestling Tees. They can do outside shows that's not AEW. But yeah, man, it's just really interesting that WWE keeps on doing things that's like not making them look so good.
Yeah, well, like I always say, when you're under their conglomerate, you have to abide by their rules and literally either adapt or perish.
CM Punk is saying otherwise though, because they're doing the whole thing about banning Twitch, and Paige on her last stream, she's been very outspoken. She actually broke down crying on her last stream, saying how much she's had it with WWE because like she's broken her neck for a company, and like with the pandemic and everything, Twitch has been a great distraction for her to get her creativity out there, to do something else to distract her from the pain, and for her to earn a little bit extra income. And WWE's like taking that away, and she's just heartbroken by it. But I remember like CM Punk, like I think he tweeted something like, "Guys, like if all of you just don't do it, they can't do anything about it. So just don't do it. And like all of you, just make a stand, and none of you do it, and they can't do anything."
Like, don't do it, meaning like don't get rid of it?
Don't get rid of it. Just refuse to. Like all of you guys, everyone, just refuse to and see what happens. Like CM Punk saying they can't do anything. Like don't give in like that. So really interesting.
Yeah. When you definitely have that much woman power, manpower, yeah, if you got it, definitely capitalize on it,
Yeah. And also coming up, Survivor Series marks Undertaker's 30 year in the WWE. That's impressive. And I remember before, I don't think it was...
That should be his last match.
Well, I think that was the original plan for him to wrestle Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series as his last match. But with how the Super Showdown or whatever, I forgot what that pay-per-view was, and how much of a disaster that was, it shook Shawn Michaels' confidence.
The tag match?
Yeah, it shook Shawn Michaels' confidence, and like they just don't want to ruin the chemistry that they had for all the WrestleMania moments. They don't want to have them seen in a bad light, so I think they're just gonna leave that as it is. But I think that was the original plan.
I mean, Shawn Michaels one-on-one, we need another one-on-one Shawn Michaels match. A tag match, when Triple H got hurt, it changed the entire match. So like the timing was just off because everyone was tired and frazzled and all that stuff because they had to call an audible. True. So yeah, timing off and stuff you had planned to create that magic doesn't go as well. Yeah, your confidence is going to be at an all-time low because that's your moment to really shine. And I hope, I definitely hope Shawn can wrestle just one more match, man. But that would be perfect because these guys are seasoned. Because I'm thinking the way they're thinking, man, in my career, they're true legends that can still go, but be able to tell a story in between their moves. You got Shawn Michaels, he's got the super kick. He's got his comeback. He's got his stuff. Undertaker has his stuff, and the story that these guys would tell would be beautiful, man. I wish.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted it to happen too, but Survivor Series is getting closer and closer, and there has been zero buildups to that. But who knows, man? They might surprise us, but we'll see.
Yeah, man, that'd be good if they just did it without no buildup, man. And then people it's a big moment. Why not do it?
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing I want to touch upon is how great of a job that I think Alexa Bliss is doing with The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. I've been watching her stuff, her highlights, in the Firefly Funhouse. At first, I think she's the right person for the job. I don't think there's anyone that could do it better. But just like anything else, first time doing it, it's a little bit rocky. Like there's times when she's like, let him in. Like I'm sure no one else could do it better than her, but even her, it felt a little weird at first. But now I feel like she's comfortable, she's having fun with it, and it's just like breathing to her. And she's such a natural at it, man. Like just like Bray Wyatt, she kind of has two characters. She kind of has the host, creepy, fun girl, and she also has the evil side to her, which I think it's great. I think she's doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I've seen highlights and stuff of it. Yeah, I think it's real cool and fun. I'm glad, that's perfect. Visually, I just love it, and the clips that I've seen on social media, it definitely clicks, man. Mm-hmm. Definitely clicks. I love it.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a good time. Oh, go ahead.
We talked about not a build-up with Shawn and Undertaker. What about possible build-up that we're seeing between The Rock and Roman, with Paul Heyman saying that Roman didn't call out The Rock, The Rock called out, Roman.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a match that, definitely is going to happen, and it should happen. And it's going to be a war, because I'm sure the Usos would be involved. Maybe someone out of it, if I was planning it, someone out of that storyline should debut. You know what I mean? I don't know, someone in the Simone family.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
There's a lot of guys, and we had
The Answer.
We had one on. Yeah, The Answer, So there's a lot of talent that can debut out of that feud. So that would be cool to see.
I think it's that's really a good idea. And you're right. I think The Rock versus Roman Reigns is really happening. And I think this is the most genuine, best storytelling ever because of their slow buildup. Not only that, but also the history of everything. You have this feud with Jay and Roman, and you have pictures of them as little kids growing up to show that they're actually family. And they were actually, Roman says, from the porch to pay-per-view, and that's true. They were playing out on the porch, playing football, and now they're main eventing pay-per-views. And another layer of authenticity to the storyline is Paul Heyman. I had no idea that Paul Heyman has been a big part of the Samoan family, because during Corey Graves' After the Bell podcast, Roman talked about how deep into the roots Paul Heyman was, man. He was right there with the Head Shrinkers, with, Rikishi Fatu. And at that time, he was just a little boy with the mullet and the big phone. And to see him, evolve into this seasoned businessman who's well respected in the wrestling industry and still be part of the Anoa'i family. The story is just all there, and there's nothing forced about it, and it just feels like you're watching a real movie or a real shoot, and it's great, man. No one can say anything bad about it. And I didn't catch the whole thing, but Jimmy Uso was on the bump, and I didn't know what the question was, but maybe it was WWE asking him, how do you feel about Jay now aligning with Roman? Do you feel any way towards that? And I really like John's answer, because he's like, oh man, I'm always my brother's keeper, no matter whoever he has a across the ring from him, I'm always gonna have his back. Even though if I'm the one across the ring from him, I might still have his back, you know. So I really like that answer, which is cool.
Yeah. But before I lose my train of thought, I definitely like that idea of having someone out of that Samoan family debut.
Yeah.
And before I forget his name, Jacob Fatu. You got to know him. I've shot
The
him
werewolf?
out on. Yes.
The Samoan werewolf?
Yes, he's
Yeah.
like a hybrid Umaga, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just imagine how like it's, Roman and Rock, to see who is, the top, and then out of that debut of him just doing moonsaults, because he's like, and I hope I'm able to share the ring with him again, because I did share the ring with him for All Pro Wrestling up in the Bay Area. But literally, I was like, he was doing a double shot, 2 shows in one night. I was literally in like gorilla position, waiting to go out, and then he showed up to wrestle me. So we didn't have much planned. I told him, just like, work with me. Let's just call it out there. And it was fine for the people, but like, we could have definitely had like a really, really awesome match, in my opinion.
I think so too.
But hey, it is what it is. But definitely awesome Pro and Bro Wrestling podcast episode. I'm rambling on because I think those are symptoms of concussion when you just ramble on and on. But I think this was a dynamite episode, man.
It's been a lot of fun. Talking to Jordan, man, the golden boy. He's so interesting and just such a fun guy. And he's so young. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And catching up with you, we haven't recorded in a minute. So it's great talking wrestling with you, man. And with that said, man, another great one in the books. If you're listening to us on iTunes, don't forget to give us a 5-star review and let us know what we can do better. And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like, and let me know down in the comment section below, what other stuff you guys want to see from us. And until then,
block the hate, salute the great Arnold Telegaarta.